Pokémon Horizons just blew my mind by finally exploring the utter mystery of Nurse Joy and her confusing family. The fact that we're still getting new information about them after 25 years is insane. Episode 94 also delivered incredible battling and character moments too, so be sure to like and subscribe, and then let's dive into this review. At a Johto Pokemon Center, Mollie is working as a nurse, and the Tandemaus from the airship are with Mollie too. I like that the writers didn't just chuck all of the airship Pokemon into a void. They're probably all split between the different adult members, and that makes me happy. After her shift, Mollie talks to an elderly Nurse Joy, and that Nurse Joy is revealed to be Mollie's mother, and this is her family's Pokemon Center. Dude! We finally have confirmation that Mollie is the daughter of a Nurse Joy. Obviously that was always a huge theory, but man, I love that we finally have confirmation. And this opens up so many questions. Literally every other Nurse Joy we've ever seen in the anime looked identical to each other. Even the tanned Orange Island's Nurse Joy looked identical in every other way, but Mollie looks very different. My brain is running wild trying to understand why that is. Maybe all the other Nurse Joys are a result of some weird Mewtwo-style genetic cloning? Did they come from a Nurse Joy production factory? And if that's the case, then maybe Mollie's mother, maybe she like ran away and married some random dude. Maybe she said, nah, I don't want my daughter to be a genetic clone made in a factory. That could be why Mollie looks different. I'm just kidding, I highly doubt that's the case. But it is really fun to talk about. Another idea could be that maybe all the other Nurse Joys come from like the same line of fathers. Maybe there's a family of guys who all look identical to each other. So then when all of the Nurse Joys have children with the identical guy family, that would make all of the children identical too? My brain hurts. Or hey, maybe the writers just didn't really think into it that deeply. The reason that Mollie looks slightly different to all the other Nurse Joys, maybe it's just to reflect that she's her own person. She's on her own life path away from her family line. I don't know man, but it's all so intriguing. It really feels like one of Pokemon's longest running mysteries. Nurse Joy is finally being explored a little more. Now don't even get me started on the Officer Jennies. The amount of time I've yapped about these women today is really making me feel like a chip off the old Brock. But if you guys have any theories, then let me know below. Shortly after, Mollie heads out to help some wild Pokemon in a forest nearby, and it's clear that things haven't been easy for her since the Horizon Volt Tacklers disbanded. She somehow has to balance her duty at the Pokemon Center alongside her passion to help Pokemon in the wild. She must be exhausted, man, I feel for her. Later on, our heroes are at a hotel nearby, and I love that the episode is showing so many Johto Pokemon. Having the region-specific Pokemon everywhere really gives me like nostalgia from the older seasons. Our heroes hear about some wild Pokemon getting sick and injured in a forest nearby, so they head there to investigate. And dude, it's like the writers watched my videos or something, because I've been begging them to give us scary horror elements in Horizons for ages. I really want to see Liko and Roy's reactions to it, and that's exactly what we got in this episode, because while they're walking through the dark nighttime forest, they begin theorizing on whether a ghost could be harming the Pokemon here, and that makes them super jumpy and scared of the most silly things ever. They get absolutely terrified of what looks like a scary face in the darkness, but it actually turns out to just be some tree leaves. Power of the imagination, dude. This whole sequence was hilarious, and I love that Roy still has his silly goofy side even now. They made our boy Roy cool, but not stoic, and I think that's the perfect balance. In the forest, our heroes then bump into Mollie, and they're all so shocked to see each other for the first time in a whole year. Mollie tells them that Pokemon here keep getting badly poisoned, so she's trying to heal them. And then they all catch up on what they've been up to for the past year. And Liko and Roy tell her how they're reforming the Horizon Volt Tacklers and trying to stop the Laqua problem and clear their name. But then Mollie abruptly tells them that they're being totally reckless. They should never call themselves the Horizon Volt Tacklers ever again. All it's gonna do is cause them problems after Spinel framed them and turned the whole world against them. And then dude, we see a flashback to a year ago. The adult members of the group announce that the Horizon Volt Tacklers are officially disbanding, all because they can't locate Friede after he vanished, and the airship is nearly broken, and they did erase the Laqua, so they did what they set out to do. And what's genuinely heartbreaking is that you can see Cap feeling utterly defeated and devastated in the corner. He's just emotionally destroyed, clutching onto Friede's goggles like they're the only thing that are holding himself together. He's clearly torn apart by losing Friede, man. And seeing the immediate aftermath really makes everything that happened sink in way more. It must have been so difficult for them all. Roy and Dot are so upset and they beg the adults not to disband the group. They want to stay together. And man, this scene really was the biggest reminder of just how much Dot has grown. To think at the beginning of Horizons, she was too anxious to even leave her room. But now she's standing up and yelling back at adults to get her point across. I'm proud of her. But Murdoch tells Liko, Roy and Dot that now it's time for them all to go off on their own paths. And surprisingly, Liko, who is clearly incredibly low because of what happened to Friede and Terapagos being dormant, Liko understands the decision. She's not arguing back like Roy and Dot are. And this perfectly explains why Roy continued his journey and Liko went back to school. Roy was angry, he didn't want them to split up, he didn't want his journey to end, so he continued it. But Liko was low and depressed, she was okay with it being over, so that's why she reverted back to going to school, back to where she was before the Rising Volt Tacklers. This is really great character writing, dude. In the present, Mollie tells them both that she loved her life being part of the Rising Volt Tacklers, but using that group name now is way too risky for Liko, Roy and Dot to do, and it's clear that Mollie is just trying to look out for the three of them. She doesn't want them to get in trouble by being attached to a group that are hated by the public. But Roy stands up and he says that no matter what, he always has been and he always will be a Rising Volt Tackler. That's just who he is. He doesn't care what anyone says about him. And this was so touching, man. It's clear that being a part of that group truly molded Liko and Roy in their most important years of life. It made them who they are today. They're not just gonna back down from that because of what other people might think. And Liko then says that just the other day they changed someone's opinion on the Rising Volt Tacklers, so that's what they want to keep doing. Take that, people who were claiming the last episode was filler. This is clear proof that it wasn't. And Mollie seems to really understand their passion and their drive after hearing this. She smiles and accepts it. She tells them that if this is what they really want, what they really believe, then they should just keep going. But then they're interrupted by a group of badly poisoned wild Pokemon, before a powerful Laquia-infected Vileplume appears too. And that's the culprit poisoning everyone. But Mollie says that she knows this Vileplume, and it would never act like this. It's always been friends with the Pokemon in the forest. So clearly the Laquium has made it lose control. Liko and Roy try to battle it with their starter Pokemon, but Vileplume effortlessly poisons them both and then overwhelms them with his Laquium power. So now it's secondary Pokemon time. Let's go! Roy sends out his Lucario because he's such a brainy battler now that he knows poison won't work against his steel type. So Lucario dashes through the poison with Metal Claw and hits Vileplume, but that activates Vileplume's ability, Effect Spore, leaving Lucario paralyzed. So Liko sends out Hattrem to hit Vileplume with super effective psychic moves, and Vileplume counters with Giga Drain, and witnessing Vileplume's Laquium power kinda makes Hattrem scared, but luckily Lucario fits the stereotype of being a hero, and he jumps in to protect her. We then get the cutest scene of all time with the Mousehold family diving in too to try and help. They're blowing away the poison gas with their little leaf fans, and Killer Wattrel and Captain Pikachu help out too. Man, they all feel like a family working together and having each other's backs. I love it. And Liko then unexpectedly terastalizes her Hattrem. Dude! First of all, I'm so happy that Terastalisation hasn't been completely moved on from. And second of all, this is the first time that any of our heroes have Terastalised their non-starter Pokemon. It's about time. God bless these writers for finally taking the secondary mons seriously. Hattrem uses Confusion to knock Vileplume over, but then Hattrem looks into Vileplume's eyes and she realises what's going on. And this was such a great moment, dude. We've seen in the past that Hattrem loves beating up Pokemon who are angry or aggressive or emotional, because those Pokemon's outbursts and actions are caused by themselves. So Hattrem has no problem with beating it out of them. But with this Vileplume, Hattrem can tell that the rampage isn't its own fault. It's infected by the Laquium. It can't control it, it's in pain. And deep down, Vileplume is heartbroken that its rampage is hurting its own friends in the forest. So Hattrem doesn't want to hurt Vileplume any more than it's already hurting. She turns to Liko and refuses to to attack it. She wants to heal it instead. Man, I love when the anime really takes this time to think about the Pokemon deeply and think about how they would act as individuals. This is perfect character writing for Hattrem, and Liko realizes all of that too. She knows that Heal and Vileplume will undo all of the work they did in the battle so far, but it could just be enough to get through to Vileplume's heart. So Hattrem, with help from Mollie's Chansey, she learns a new move, Healing Wish. And the power of Healing Wish is enough to calm down Vileplume, allowing Terapagos to absorb the Laqua from its body. Let's go! Mission success! Later on in the Pokemon Center, there's like 50,000 Nurse Joys everywhere. I guess they're Mollie's close family? Or maybe there's just a big Nurse Joy party for some reason. I bet our boy Brock is barreling it to the Pokemon Center as we speak. Our heroes hear people talking about some new sphere device releasing soon that makes your Pokemon stronger in battles, and I'm guessing that'll be relevant in the next episode. And then Liko and Roy ask Mollie to join them on their journey ahead, but Mollie says that she still has a lot to do and a lot to learn here at the Pokemon Center. But if the airship is ever fixed and they can return to how they used to be, then she'd love to join them again then. I'm guessing this'll be what happens with all the adult Rise and Volt Tackler members. One by one, we'll see Liko and Roy reuniting with them again and getting them all on the same page again, and then at the end, maybe they'll fix the airship and reform the Rise and Volt Tacklers properly. That way Liko and Roy can be the main focus on their journey in this story arc, and then the gang can get back together at the end of the arc. That sounds perfect. Later on, Liko and Roy return Vileplume to the forest where it bonds with his friends again, but then the episode ends on a huge cliffhanger. Our heroes find a massive Nurse Joy cloning factory in the wild. Dude! I'm just kidding. They actually find an Exceed headquarters building. Not quite as insane, but still pretty awesome. So I've spoken a ton about my thoughts on this episode already throughout the video, so I won't yap for too much longer, but I would genuinely say this was a perfect episode. We finally got answers about Mollie's backstory and family, her relation to Nurse Joy, and my brain is still puzzled trying to figure all of that out. I do love the mystery though. We also got to see Mollie's new life as well, and it's pretty nice to see that although working at the Pokemon Center isn't what she wanted, she is making the best of it, and she does find a lot of joy, no pun intended, in helping young trainers and Pokemon. She has a pure heart, man, and seeing Liko and Roy rekindle with her and get her back on board was great too, and I loved how they all worked together to help Vileplume. It really does show that even with them all being split apart for a year, they are still a family. I know some folks are sad that Hattrem didn't evolve in the episode, but I'm fine with it. This episode was an amazing one for Hattrem. Her personality got major focus in this episode through refusing to attack Vileplume, and she terastalized for the first time too, and learned Healing Wish. This is the kind of development and work that Hattrem needed, and now she can evolve in the future and it'll feel even better. The cliffhanger was great too. I'm guessing we'll see our heroes explore the Exceed headquarters next week, and probably investigate the Exceed Strong Sphere devices that they heard about. It's really about to get serious, folks, and I couldn't be any more excited. Week after week, Mega Voltage keeps on dropping, peak after peak. So let me know your thoughts on the episode below, and consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. It helps me out a ton. Come join our Discord server to watch new episodes live every week, and maybe consider becoming a channel member too if you really want to make my day. The links to both of those things are in the description. Massive shout out to my current channel members like Dowpals, Toten, Racco, Pokesan, Regular-san, Jay, Shiny Charm, Justcadia, Blazing Shots, Not Mini. You guys are absolute legends. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!